it's Teresa. Well, aren't these dining room chairs pretty? But there's a problem with them, and I'm going to fix this situation. So let me show you how I did it. So I bought these dining room chairs online about 7 years ago, and even though I love the print of the upholstery, they're too squishy and low for a standard dining room table height. So I put these memory foam cushions on it, and still they're too low. So I went to Facebook Marketplace and I found these chair frames for free. So I went and got them, and boy, are they heavy. They're older chairs and they're built really nicely, very solid and stable, and they're so pretty. I like the little detail on the top of the back of the chair and these beautiful and elegantly curved chair arms. I just really love the style. So I mentioned these are heavy chairs, so I used a little magic to get them quickly into my dining room where I'm going to work on them. And I started looking at them closer and noticing that they do have a lot of damage on them, especially this one down at the bottom where a dog chewed on it. Well, I hope it was a dog anyway. Originally, I thought I could just use the wood chairs as is because the wood matches this trestle table that I got at a thrift store for $2. And I do have to sand the top of this table, and I will. I'll just get a palm sander and sand the top of this and put a light stain on it. But these chairs, I'm not interested in refinishing these because I'm actually not fond of refinishing furniture. I did a few when I was younger, and it's not for me. So I started off by cleaning them with Dawn dish detergent, and this is a degreaser. I use this all the time for this purpose, to remove dirt and oil from hands and anything sticky on the surfaces. And I did rub down this chewed portion, and I only had 110 grit sandpaper, but it at least smoothed it a little bit. And because I'm going to paint this, I don't think it's going to show much at all. And these are going to be my version of shabby chic chairs anyway, kind of boho style. So this is the first time I'm using chalk paint. I really wanted to try it because I've watched YouTube videos and it seemed like a lot of people were using chalk paint for a long time. This is an 8-ounce bottle and it's ocean color blue. And I'm going to use my chip brushes that I have in my stash. The thing I like about this chalk paint is it says on the label, no prep. And boy, is that appealing to me because I really dislike sanding furniture. After I tried the blue just from the lid of the jar, I really like this blue color. So I continued on painting and painting and painting, and this was not easy because of the style of this chair design. There's so many curves and so many different pieces of wood. So this took me quite a while, and I have 2 to paint also. But this was one of my favorite parts to paint, this little design at the top of the back of the chair. And it's a good thing I was using this stiff chip brush so that it got the paint down into all of the grooves really nicely. So I have 1 coat of paint on these 2 chairs, and I will be putting a second coat on, I decided. Although you could use them like this too, because remember, this is boho style. And even this chewed up section doesn't look too bad. So I want to put some black paint in these recessed areas to give these designs more definition. So I'm just using acrylic paint. I'm starting with a navy and adding some black to it. And I'm just experimenting here, and I just am getting the paint into the creases and wiping off the excess with a damp sponge. And then I put some more on. It was just experimenting to see how much coverage I would need on these areas. And as I was sponging it off, the black paint did smear over the other areas of the chair, so it did tone down this blue a little bit in some areas. So I had to keep an eye on that so that it was done consistently at least. And again, there's so many details on these chairs, so this took me a while. After I was finished with that, I wanted to smear on some of this copper metallic acrylic paint onto the raised parts of the design. And I did this on thrift store frames that I had painted, and it worked out really nicely. So I'm trying it here. And I like this copper metallic paint. I use this a lot when I'm doing my home projects. And I couldn't stop there, so I continued on, and I decided to put copper on all of the edges on all the parts of the chair. And when I got too much copper paint on some areas, I was just able to paint over that with the blue chalk paint. And I just tried to do this so that it was consistent coverage overall. And I like the way it turned out. And because I'll be able to see the backs of the chairs very often, I had to make sure to do the back as well. So it's looking very pretty. And here's a comparison between the one I finished and the unfinished one, just so you can see if you want to do a project like this. You can stop at any stage and it still looks really nice. And I bought this fabric because I have to make seats for these chairs, and I'll upholster them with this nice fabric. This is actually outdoor fabric. But before I get to that, I want to put a top coat on these chairs to protect the finish. So I always use this polyacrylic. And this is the clear ultra flat finish. I just had this in my stash, so that's what I'm using. And originally I wanted to use this soft bristle brush. It's a regular paintbrush. But then I switched to the sponge applicators, and it seemed like it was a little easier to control the polyacrylic and prevent it from dripping using these sponge applicators. And again, here's a comparison between the unfinished one and the one I just put the top coat on. Even though this is a clear, ultra flat finish polyacrylic, it still does have a little bit of a sheen to it. Kind of a satiny look, and I think it's very pretty. So I hope this video gave you some ideas of projects that you can do in your own home. And if you like this video, can I ask you to please give it a thumbs up? That really helps my YouTube channel to grow and reach more viewers, so thanks for doing that. Thanks so much for watching. I really do appreciate the viewers' support. Bye-bye.